Welcome to the Thrive25 in 5 podcast, where we provide a quick win to optimize your health and longevity in just 5 minutes. Hey everyone, welcome to today's podcast. Today, we're talking about sweating. It's one of our most core functions as humans. It cools us down, it increases our blood flow, alleviates pain, helps us detox, improves the look and health of our skin, and even boosts our immune system. I find this last one very interesting. We all think about sweating when we have a fever, but our skin is actually the first line of defense of our immune system. It keeps everything out. And it's also why we get sick through our nose, our ears, our mouth. These are the openings in our first line of defense. But our skin needs to be in great shape too. Otherwise, those viruses and bacteria can infiltrate us at any time. Our sweat actually has antimicrobial peptides that fight bacteria, viruses, and fungi. So a good sweat is a big part of our overall defense system. But about 125 years ago, we decided we didn't want to sweat as much anymore. Everdry was the first patented antiperspirant in 1903. Then a product called Odorono really pushed the growth of the industry. It used aluminum chloride to close up our sweat glands. Now, these early products were geared towards women. It was a case study in marketing, creating a problem that people didn't think about or didn't realize. Soon there were ads all over telling women, if you want a man, you better not smell. Men thought these products would make them less masculine. But as men started to look for work following the Great Depression, the antiperspirant industry did its job to convince the other 50% of the market that they needed to smell good too, and that was what was really being a man. The basic formulation of all of these were using aluminum, and that's still what's used today. Aluminum reacts with electrolytes like sodium and creates a gel plug in the duct of our sweat gland. So what's the deal with that? Now, experts will tell you that aluminum isn't that bad for you, and it definitely doesn't cause cancer. I've gone over dozens and dozens of studies, and the results are truly inconclusive. 50% of breast cancers are near the armpit, but the use of antiperspirant hasn't proven to be the primary reason. Now, there is a credible study from 2017 that found a correlation between a higher breast cancer risk and increased use of aluminum-based antiperspirant, but I wouldn't say it actually proves anything. We do have a link in the show notes for you to read that study yourself. But aluminum is just one ingredient in these antiperspirants. Most brands have parabens and all kinds of chemicals that cause so many problems with our hormones and our fertility. It's no coincidence that all of us know people that are having issues trying to get pregnant and often have to resort to things like IVF. The numbers show it's as high as actually 1 in 8 couples that are having fertility issues today. And these parabens are completely unregulated in the US. They're everywhere from nonstick pots to pans and our flame retardant furniture. And like anything else, for these chemicals, it's the dose that makes the poison. It's not the exposure from one thing or one day, it's the cumulative effect. And putting something directly on our armpit amplifies the absorption of these chemicals into our body. Plus, the history of something being deemed safe doesn't have a great record in the US. Antiperspirants were mostly aerosols in the 1970s and even prevalent when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s, but they weren't good for us. Regulation is typically a lagging indicator of safety, not leading indicator. And also, remember what we said at the beginning, there's so many benefits to sweating. So for all of those reasons, I'm opting out of an antiperspirant and I use a natural deodorant. Do I smell? Sometimes. In fact, I can tell when I've eaten fried food and when I'm overly stressed. I've become much more self-aware of my scent and can literally smell the cortisol when it gets too high. But at the end of the day, most of these deodorants work fine. I pay a few more bucks. I jump in the pool with my clothes after a run or workout to immediately get the sweat off. And then, yes, I pretty much always have an extra shirt with me in the car in case it's ever a hot day. Now, as a bonus though, those armpit stains you might have on those white shirts, that's not from your sweat. That's from the aluminum of your antiperspirant. I will mention one caveat here. Some of the brands that promote natural deodorants talk about a detox period. So all those clogged sweat glands will actually release after 1 to 2 weeks of not having aluminum on them anymore. And that smell will mix with your bacteria on your skin in a different day. So it might be a little bit of a smell for a few weeks. But that shouldn't dissuade you from the long-term benefits of using a natural deodorant. Maybe just give your partner a heads up that you're doing it. That's all for today. Thanks so much for listening to this podcast. If you're enjoying this, please subscribe on your favorite podcast station or check us out on YouTube. And again, if you have any topics you'd like us to cover in the future, please reach out to us, team@thrive25.com. Thanks so much, everyone. Have an awesome day. While we strive to provide informative and inspiring content, the information shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider for any personal health concerns or before starting a new health regimen.